Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Roll and Move Reviews Expansion Saturday. My name's Kirk, I'm your host. I'm so excited you can join me today. This episode we are going to be talking about a two-player standalone expansion for the DC Comics deck building game. I think I got it all in there. And that is Rivals, Batman vs. Joker. Let's take a look. In many respects, Rivals plays out just like the original DC deck building game. And that's a pretty standard deck builder. Everybody starts out with a deck made up of 7 of these punch cards, which have a +1 power on them. And power is your only currency in the game. Everything is either purchased or defeated with power, so it's pretty simple to work out that way. So you have 7 of those, and you have 3 of these vulnerabilities to start. These vulnerabilities really do nothing. There's no effect. They just clog up your deck, and you got to figure out a way to negate them. So that's your starting deck. You draw 5 cards. That's your starting hand. You have this central main deck that you can purchase from, just like in the original game. You flip out 5 cards at a time that are always available to purchase and get replaced at the end of every turn. And just like in the original game, you have equipment, locations, villains, heroes, and superpowers. Now you'll be using your base cards, your starter cards, to purchase these. You can see you have the cost value down here. You'll be purchasing these cards, put them in your discard pile. They'll eventually get shuffled back into your deck, so your deck will, continue to get more powerful. You always have these kick cards available to buy for 3 costs and +2 power. And certain card effects may make you take these weaknesses, which are even worse than vulnerabilities, because not only do they do nothing for you in your hand, but at the end of the game they are also worth -1 point. The biggest departure in this game is that in the original DC deck builder game, you would get an oversized character card that would have an ability, just like we see here. And then everybody would have one of these, and they'd be fighting against a stack of villain cards that would be laid out somewhere around the main deck here. And you go through those, and that was kind of the timer on the game. Whenever those were all defeated, the game was over. In this game, you get your oversized card. Not only do you have your ability, but you also have a power cost and a point value. That's because in this game, you're not attacking villains in the main deck, you are attacking each other. Both players will be attacking each other to try to take out the other player's character. So you can see here you have 3 cards for each character. You have a 9-point card, a 12-point card, and a 15-point card. And Joker has the same here. Not only do they get progressively more difficult to beat, but their abilities get tougher as well. So the further on you go, the harder it is to defeat your opponent. To attack an opponent, you have to declare a confrontation. And a confrontation, simply you say at the beginning of your turn, I'm having a confrontation. That's all you can do on your turn is attack your opponent directly. So you see here, say Joker's attacking Batman here. He has his 9-point card. Joker would play out all the cards he has that he wants to play this turn, getting up to at least 9 power. And you can see here there are certain cards that have during a confrontation abilities. So if you play that obviously during a confrontation, you would get that bonus effect. So you play out all the cards you wanted to get and add up all your power. Then the defending player would get a chance to play blocks. And as you can see what these block cards do is you play them after your attacker has played all his cards, and you add that many points to your character's cost. That one adds 2, this one adds 3. And you play as many of those down as you want, and those would add to your total. So let's just say, for example, Joker is attacking Batman, and he played down 13 points of power. So right now, as it stands at the end of his attack, he's defeated Batman. But maybe Batman plays this block. He adds 2, so he's up to 11. And he plays this block, so he adds 3, and that takes him up to 14. He's beat the Joker's total, so he's successfully defended. If he could not play blocks that added up higher than the Joker's total attack power, the Joker would take this card, and now the Batman player would be using this card and using that ability, and this is the next one the Joker would have to attack. If a player is able to defeat all 3 of their opponent's cards, they automatically win the game. If the main deck runs out before anybody's defeated all 3 cards, you go to point values. You total up the point values of all the cards in your hand, which are these little stars here, plus the point values of any opponent cards that you've captured, and whoever has the higher total wins the game that way. And that's how you play DC Deck Builder, Rivals, Batman vs. Joker. The biggest knock against the original DC Deck Builder game is the fact that thematically it's kind of a mess. There are just all kinds of cards in there for all different kinds of characters. Everything gets mashed together. You may end up with Wonder Woman in the Batmobile or Aquaman with the Green Lantern power rings, and it's kind of sloppy, it just doesn't make sense. This game kind of fixes some of that because you only have 2 characters and they're the only people who have cards in the deck. Half the main deck is Joker, half the main deck is Batman. So you're really only going to be getting cards that fit these characters. Now, of course, Joker may get Batman cards or vice versa, but I interpret that as them finding ways to negate their opponent's advantage or even finding ways to turn it against them. So, like I said, this cleans up a lot of thematic issues in the original game. One of the things I think the original game does better, though, is it gives you more options, more characters to play, more abilities to use, and therefore more strategy options as you play the game again and again. This game, you get the 2 characters, and they have different abilities depending on what card they're on, but all their abilities revolve around the same things. Batman's abilities are all equipment and superhero cards. Joker's are all villains and superpowers. So no matter how many times you play this game, depending on what character you're using, you're always going to be trying the same strategy, trying to get the same cards. So I think that really hurts the replayability. I wish what they would have done, instead of just giving us these 2 characters at first, and from what I understand, this was supposed to be a part of a series, but I haven't heard or seen anything about them putting out more. But instead of putting out just these 2 at once, I wish they would have taken the idea and put it in one of these big DC expansion boxes. And instead of just giving us Joker and Batman, give us Joker and Batman, Superman, Lex Luthor, Flash, Gorilla Grodd, whatever else along the board. Have a series of arch villains and arch rivals, and then let us mix it up. Give every character half a main deck, and whoever you want to play, say you want to play Batman versus Lex Luthor, you take half the Lex deck and half the Batman deck, put them together, and now they're fighting each other. So we still get that 2-player confrontation ability, but we'd still have variety in characters, a lot more replayability. My other complaint against Rivals is the fact that you have those 2 ways to win. You can win by eliminating all 3 of the other players' cards, or you can wait till the main deck runs out and go to points. I've played this game a lot with several different people, and only once have I ever seen it go to where the other player had all 3 of their cards eliminated. And that was when I was playing as an experienced player against someone who had no idea what they were doing, and I just kind of wiped the floor with them. Other than that, every single game I've ever played has gone to points. And when you go to points, it just feels very random. The point differential is usually maybe 3 or 4 points maximum, and you can never go and pinpoint and say, oh, here's why I won, here's what I did better than you. It's just very random, and just, I happen to get this card that had 1 or 2 more points than you. I've played pure point strategies because of that. I've gone into games and said, you know what, there's no way I'm beating all 3 of his cards. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to collect as many high point value cards as I can. And even when I do that, the best I do is win by 1 or 2 or maybe 3 points. So it's way too random with the points, like I said. I really wish the character cards were a little easier to beat, or that the main deck was bigger to make the game last longer. Other than that, the game plays a lot like the original DC Deckbuilder game. So if you like that game, you probably like this. Depending on whether you like the direct confrontation and the direct player conflict versus the idea of basically just racing to beat as many of the cards on the board as you can. Whichever version that you like better will probably depend on which game you like better. If you're a completionist for the DC Deckbuilder, pick this up. If you like the idea of that game plus the player conflict, pick this up. If you just are really into Batman and Joker, I'd say pick this up. But other than that, I don't think it's a game you need. It's really just more of the same. You might be better off just playing a 2-player version of one of the other, the full-size DC games, because in a lot of ways that game's just superior. But if it's something you're interested, check it out. Rivals, Joker versus Batman. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for watching this episode of Roll Movie Reviews Expansion Saturday. Please leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. Tell me what you think about DC Rivals and the DC Deckbuilder in general. Please be sure as well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook. Visit our sponsor website, alteregogames.net. Holidays are coming, you need great deals on games, they got them for you. If you want to watch some of our old videos, check them out on YouTube, Facebook, Board Game Geek, or the Alter Ego Games site. Remember, I got my top 10s of board gaming coming out soon. Be watching for that. If you have an idea of a list you want me to do, please send it to me. I've been starting to do movie reviews. That's kind of weird, but if you want to check those out, those are on our YouTube channel as well. Otherwise, that's everything I have for this time, guys. I will see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have fun out there.